Good morning. This morning I'd like to share a story with you. And I'm excited about this story because it makes a massive difference when we understand it, how we connect with people and how we actually negotiate, how we make more money, how we do a lot of business. If you look at throughout history, there have been kind of three iterations of how we believe people can be motivated. The first way that people were motivated were basically basic human needs. And the first negotiations that happened was basically they'd take away something from you, or they'd fight wars or kill each other. And it was very oppressive. If you look at early history, the way people got their way, it was basically being stronger than the other person. That's how people got their way. That's how people negotiated. And if you look back, sometimes people did really interesting things. So if they're two superpowers, often they would marry off a family member because they figured, hey, listen, if I'm not going to fight somebody that has my grandkids living there, so I'll be careful with that, right? Fascinating ways people negotiated. And then we went to another iteration. And really, for most of our lives, for most of history that we know about, negotiation's been done with either reward or punishment. That's basically the way we negotiate. If you do this, I'll do this for you. If you don't do this, I'm going to take something away from you. This is how businesses have worked. This is how businesses get their way with employees. This is typically the way it works. So again, it's just basically it's threats 2.0, right? So the first way was threats. The second way has been threats, but there's a new way that's been emerging over the last 20 or 30 years. Now, there have been a few people who've always understood these secrets. You can go back and listen to Greeks and old Chinese authors, ancient people that talked about this. But if you look at it, it's been a consistent theme throughout history that there have been some people who understood this. Here's the secret. In order to get what you want through a negotiation, the best way to get it long-term, not short-term. Short-term, yeah, threats work really well. I'm not advocating that, but they do work fairly well, right? Long-term, if you want results and you want relationship long-term, the best way to negotiate and get more of what you want is by listening more. The better we listen to others, the more we pay attention to what their real needs are, the more other people feel understood by us. What starts to happen is we build an incredible amount of rapport, and people start liking us. People want to do business with us. People want to do things for us. This happens so many times in life where I think about, hey, I want to threaten my kid or whatever. Not with anything drastic, but it was still like, I'm going to take away this, or I'm going to give you this. And those things really don't work. It actually, research is showing over and over again now that when we do that consistently, it actually conditions people not to want to really help us. It works very well short-term, doesn't work very well long-term. And what I'm after all the time, and what I really encourage you, this is the challenge for this morning, is to look at relationships from a long-term perspective. Look at relationships and negotiations as what is going to, yeah, of course, get what I want on some level, but what is going to bring value to this relationship so that I have what I want for a long time, not just the next day, not just the next week, long term. This is like the opposite. If you're a car salesman, I'm going to partially apologize because car salespeople are trained really poorly. So if you're a car salesperson and you've been trained to just get what you need in the moment, like just sell this car at whatever cost to relationship, that's not the way the best salespeople in the world work. That's not the way the best business people in the world work. There are a few that will continue to do this. I can think of a few that come to mind right away. But long term, what you want is listen, understand people's needs. When they feel understood, they want to do business with you and they want to give you more. There's been a really interesting, the reason I'm thinking about this, there's been a really interesting book that I read on an FBI agent who was a master negotiator. And he teaches all the stuff that I typically talk to people about. And that is, if we listen to people, he was talking to people who are terrorists, people who are threatening to kill others. And his method, by listening to them, has allowed him to build relationship over a very short period of time, enough that those people give in to his demands rather than him giving into other people's demands. It's fascinating the way this works. This is my task for you. And you hear me talk about this a lot because it's so important. But I want you to go out and next time you go, hey, I want something from somebody else, I want you to listen to what their needs are. Listen to their needs and make yourself accessible. Allow yourself to make an offer to help them. When you offer to help them, there's something that kicks in, and that's reciprocity. We are social beings. And when somebody is given something, typically they want to give something back. So legitimately, if they say, hey, how can I help you? You can ask for something and they'll give it. Or you can negotiate on something, but listen to people, understand their problems, understand what's behind the problems. The more you understand somebody, the more you're able to meet their needs, and the more they're willing to meet you halfway, or a lot of the way, as is often happens when you're negotiating properly, the right way. Enjoy your day, enjoy this process, and remember, you've got this.